As long as we stay within the columns that are already suggested for the number line, base 10, when we have tenths column, the hundredths column, I'm saying this with a TH sound on the end, thousandths column, those would be the denominators of our fraction. And as long as we are staying in the named columns for the fractional or decimal portion of the number line, it's pretty easy. So for example, if our fraction is like 17 hundredths, to make an equivalent or a decimal out of it, all we would have to do is put a decimal point and 17. Because in our place value, it would work out perfectly. Point 17. The 7 ends up in the hundredths column, which is the denominator of our fraction. Let's say we had 23 hundredths. We would be able to put the 23 completely in the columns, the 3 ending here in the hundredths column, to find the decimal for it. Even if we had a single digit, let's maybe say 3 hundredths, that's what I have here with my 3 shiny pennies. This would be, the 3 would have to go into the hundredths column because that's the label of the denominator, and I could just simply fill up the tenths column with a 0. So as long as we have fractions that end in 100, it fits perfectly into the chart. If we had something like 4 tenths, there's also a spot for that. We would just simply put our 4 in the tens column and our decimal point. Similarly, if we had something like 123 thousandths, we'd have to make sure that the 3, the very last number of the numerator, fit perfectly into the thousands position. So here's the thousands column. I would just write the number backwards, so I was sure to hit all the columns and put a decimal point. So as long as the denominator of our fractions have the columns, a column named in the place value, it's very, very easy because there's very little math. There's really just copying and placing correctly. All of these fractions have denominators where we actually have a place value on our place value chart. So 45 hundredths would be 45 with the 5 ending in the hundredths column, and we show that with a decimal point. 9 tenths would be 9 in the tenths column. 634 thousandths, we would have to be sure that the 4 ended up in the thousandths position, and we do. It is thousands. Here's our hundredth, here's our tenth, and that's where the decimal point goes. In this one, 5 thousandths, the 5 would have to end up in the column of the denominator. So we would have to put our 5 in the thousandths column and fill in these two place values with zeros because our decimal point would be there. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths.